Ladies and gentlemen, let's Red Gaming Telecom video. We're going to be further discussing Ryse, Son of Rome, or more to the point, the technology which, well, basically lies behind it. So obviously, Ryse, Son of Rome is one of the lead titles for the Xbox One, and is going to be featuring a lot of the Xbox's technology, including smart glass. So developers were being asked about this and how they feel the Xbox One's technology is going to be utilized, including, as I said, the smart glass and much more besides. So let's begin with smart glass. Mike Reed from the Ryse team began by answering, there is a smart glass component that will be available for Ryse which taps into the cloud content sharing and menu capabilities. There's been a huge step up from the time smart glass was introduced until now. One example is that it now provides experiences like full menu integration. What you see on menus in games replicated in the Smart Glass app, giving you the ability to see your own and your friends' progress, managing inventory, upgrade your character and abilities, whether you're playing the game or not. In addition, all of this information is stored in the cloud, allowing you to perform this functionality regardless whether you're in your living room or on the road. Which is, out of quote, quite an interesting perspective. I'm sure you'll agree. I'm not super sold on it myself. Maybe it's one of those things you have to actually use, though, to reap the benefits. Now, there's a question regarding Xbox One's hardware. Unfortunately, it's not quite a super in-depth explanation, but still. But basically, by judging by the recent videos released, you guys are putting a lot of effort into making the game feel as realistic as possible. Can you please tell us what aspects of the Xbox One's architecture are helping you achieve this? Mike Reed, once again, fielded, or should I say responded to the question. The massive leap in hardware is the most obvious thing that's helped us bring things to life with the visual fidelity never seen before on a console platform. One of the big advantages over previous console generations is the graphic capabilities. Disregarding any speed improvements, the modern architecture of their system and the DX11 support means we can now do on console what we could only do on PC. Another advantage is having effectively a PC architecture for the CPU side of things. This allows threading models and optimizations that would have been done on PC to be used, and allows faster prototyping of the more ambitious optimizations that we've put in place. And also they were asked, excuse me, what about the CryEngine for the Xbox One? How difficult or which compromises were they made? Now, Mike responded, given the amount of work we put into our previous titles and pushing the PC hardware to its max, we were more than ready for the Xbox One had to offer. There have been a number of challenges and compromises from many different areas when working with new technology and ways of doing things, but nothing the team hasn't been able to handle. One thing that people tend to forget is that there is a lot more moving parts with this, from us developing an engine alongside a game, mix it in with new hardware and new development tools to support this. There is no silver bullet to developing a game, and the challenges we face here only put us in the forefront position of understanding the new pipelines which we'll be dealing with the new generation. Finally, they were asked about the voice commands, which of course are going to be utilizing Kinect. And Mike responded, the Kinect component of Ryse is focused around voice commands to issue support orders. We tested a number of different things, including gestures, but it was not something that just felt natural. In the end, players will want to have the option of either calling out commands or pressing the RB button on the controller to issue them. One of the things that you could do was highlighted in the E3 demos, issue orders for archers to support, and then firing the catapult at the end of the level. End quote. It's not exactly a super informative interview, I'll grant you guys. I mean, obviously the DX11 support is going to be an advantage if you're used to developing for PC. It's going to make the porting process in that respect easier. And obviously, because the CPUs inside the Xbox are basically low power PC performance CPUs, then you've got a lot of optimizations. You can basically treat it as a 6-core processor, because obviously 2 of the 8 are reserved for operating system functionality. So it does make things easy for them. However, I would be curious exactly what type of compromises they're making with the engine. They are correct, however, that one major point is that they, of course, are learning the technology, the new hardware, in other words. They are trying to develop a title, and they are also trying to bug test it. And I think it's fair to say that Guerrilla, who of course are developing Killzone for the PS4, are pretty much in exactly the same boat. They are pretty much in exactly the same situation, down to the letter. In fact, they are of course even writing technical documentation on how they feel is best to get more performance out of it, and they're actually releasing that information, or some information anyway, to developers as kind of like helping hands, if you will. One thing's for certain, the development of Ryse is being very much in the eyes of the media and gamers, because people are very curious to see exactly how it's going to look. Obviously, Ryse, they reduced the polygon count but increased the texture and model shading and so on, improved the LOD, and it's running at 900p, and some people are criticizing them heavily, some people are criticizing the Xbox One hardware, but I think it's fair to say that these titles are basically kind of like their initial offerings. They're just pretty much trying to get used to how the hardware functions and is even put together at this point. And there's probably going to be many subtle nuances that they find out along the way. Just because something's easy to utilize, it doesn't mean it's easy to master. I would be curious, however, most curious, and I don't think we're ever going to see it, but I would be extraordinarily curious to see what type of performances both builds of the game, both builds of Ryse got in terms of GPU utilization, CPU utilization, and so on. In other words, I would love to see if the 85,000 poly model is going to be doing more work than like the 150,000 poly model. I'd just like to see which was actually, pushing the Xbox more. Anyway, as I said, it's a fairly short interview, unfortunately, but I thought I'd just throw it in here for you guys anyway, because I know you're probably curious about Ryse, as it's one of the bigger titles for the X1. So I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.